So RCFL analysts, and you may ask, what does RCFL stands for? It stands for Rigged College Football League. But Rigged College Football League expert by the name of Paul Finebaum drops a ugly bomb on LeBron James in his rigged RBA career. Expose LeBron James for not being in the same realm, in the same category, in the same conversation, in the same debate with Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the greatest player in RBA history. Just like Kobe Bryant is 1B to Michael Jordan, LeBron James is 100Z. If Michael Jordan is 1A and Kobe is 1B, LeBron James is 100Z. But Paul Finebaum goes nuclear on LeBron James. He gives LeBron James a verbal spanking. He spanked him like a hated foster child. He cooks LaFunky Butt James. But here's what Paul Finebaum had to say. This article is per Athlon Sports, and the headline reads, Paul Finebaum has clear choice between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. It says, a caller on the Finebaum show asked the usual college football expert for his thoughts on the GOAT debate. Finebaum stated that while he believes James is great, he does not consider him to be on the same level as Michael Jordan. He says, quote, I think LeBron is great, but he's not Michael Jordan, Finebaum said. He goes on to say, how about in any facet? Michael Jordan to me is the greatest competitor of all time. He did also add, Finebaum expressed his belief that the debate between James and Jordan regarding who's the greatest player of all time is already settled, saying that although he acknowledged that he is not an expert on the RBA, Finebaum pointed out that Jordan has 6 championships compared to James 4, emphasizing that this difference matters. Well, it appears as though Finebaum is dropping the ugly truth on LeBron James. Yes, the GOAT debate was already settled before LeBron James was even thought of, before there was a birth of a LeBron James career. Despite LeBron James trying his hardest, his best to prove that he's better than Michael Jordan, there's nothing that he can do that can convince real basketball fans that he deserves to be in a conversation with Michael Jordan. I mean, it's just a conversation that should never be had. LeBron James in the GOAT debate is a conversation or a discussion that just doesn't need to be had. It's like having a conversation of should you put on 2 left shoes. You know you're supposed to put on a right shoe and a left shoe. But it's already settled. Michael Jordan is just in a whole nother stratosphere. We're talking about a 10-time scoring champion. We're talking about a 6-time RBA Finals champion. We're talking about a 6-time RBA Finals MVP. We're talking about a 5-time RBA regular season MVP player, 9-time All-Defensive First Team. We're talking about a player who 3-peated, retired, came back, and 3-peated again. Michael Jordan has done more with far less. LeBron James has had twice as much, and he's still trying to catch up to Michael Jordan. So no, Paul Finebaum. Yes, championships do matter, but it's in the fashion and the manner that you win those championships. Even without the championships, if we go skill for skill, LeBron James could never be a better player than Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. All of LeBron James championships were rigged. You give Michael Jordan, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic, Russell Westbrook, and all the other all-stars that LeBron James done had throughout his rigged RBA career, Michael Jordan would have 777 championships and counting. LeBron James needed a bubble to win his 4th RBA title. LeBron James is not even the greatest player or the best player in his generation. LeBron James is not even a better player than Kevin Durant. He's not even a better player than Steph Curry. He's just had the luxury of being able to have all these all-star teammates. He's had super teams. And LeBron James still came up short. LeBron James has come up short more than a midget. He's lost more finals than Michael Jordan. And then you have people who have the gall, the nerve to say that, well, Steph Curry, they had better teams. How can you, in your right state of mind, even utter that ridiculous garbage? Can you honestly say that Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors from 2014 to 2018 has had a better team than LeBron James had when he played in Miami? He had a super duper team and only won 2 titles with the Miami Heat. Only won 1 title with the Cleveland Cavaliers and had a super team with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love and a stacked bench. Joined the Los Angeles Lakers and only won 1 rig bubble, which is further proof that LeBron James could have never played in the West because he needed a bubble to win a championship. And Stephen A. Smith, he the one who introduced this talking point, manipulated fans into repeating that LeBron James is the best player on the planet. He's the best player on the planet. LeBron James has never been the best player on the planet. What planet is LeBron James the best on? Planet Fitness? And speaking of Planet Fitness, LeBron James doesn't have enough integrity to work out and do things the natural way because he's on steroids allegedly. Here you have a man who's 40 years old, still running like guys in their prime. And when I say prime, I'm not talking about the sports energy drink. LeBron James is outrunning these young players in their prime. He's outrunning the Anthony Edwards of the world, still flying high and dunking like he was in his prime. They're trying to sell us this narrative that he's defying father time. No. He's cheating father time because he's on steroids allegedly. LeBron James wouldn't even be the best player in the handicap league. The RBA, they need to exile LeBron James. Out with the old, in with the new. He's been around far too long, destroying the sport, ruining the sport. The reason that the RBA ratings have declined is because of LeBron James. Nobody wants to watch LeBron James at the All-Star game. And then you have the people excited, exhilarated at the fact that LeBron James now has a career total of 50,000 points. Well, I would much rather be excited if I can punch LeBron James in his face 50,000 times. You want me to believe that he's better than Michael Jordan, and this man has multiple finals losses, has the most finals losses in RBA history. He's the greatest loser of all time. Nobody can lose better than LeBron James. Can't nobody lose better than me. Of course, you don't need bifocals to see that LeBron James is the most overrated player. He doesn't pass the eye test. The player that LeBron James perceives himself to be is far off from the player who real basketball fans see him to be, which is a complete fraud. The real basketball fans' opinions matter the most. LeBron James' basketball peers, the elites, the great, the upper echelon, the ones who are revered as the basketball greats, those opinions matter. Their opinions align with the real basketball fans who show them appreciation for how they gave back and gave their all in blood, sweat, and tears to the game, which is something that LeBron James hasn't done. He's hurt the game more than he's helped the game. From the flopping, forming super duper teams, trading his teammates. But ultimately, what LeBron James wants is the respect of his peers, which is the respect that Kobe Bryant and Jordan got. The basketball greats, they don't want LeBron James sitting at their lunch table. Nah. LeBron James needs to be sitting at the table with the Raymond Feltons of the world. LeBron James needs to be in the conversation with the Clint Capellas of the world, the Serge Ibaka's of the world, the Cephalosas of the world. I would take Chris Webber over LeBron James any day. Tim Duncan over LeBron James any day. LeBron James deserves to be in the conversation with the Rudy Gays of the world, especially with the last name Gay, no pun intended. Allegedly. Why? Because LeBron James secretly attends the Diddy parties. He loves to have oil rubbed on him. That's not sweat that you see when LeBron James is playing. That's baby oil. But LeBron James needs to be at the table with the Austin Rivers of the world, the Bobby Porters of the world, the Bobby Bouchers of the world, the Bobby Bouchers of the world. The Bobby Bouchers of the world. But all the stats that LeBron James is racking up currently, it's all overcompensation. He's trying to use numbers to solidify him as the GOAT, to help his GOAT case and help him in the debates. He's trying his hardest to chase a ghost, chase Casper. He's trying to chase Michael Jordan, trying to use these longevity stats. Michael Jordan could have did everything that LeBron James is doing in far less time if he wanted to take that path. LeBron James is useless to the game of basketball. But LeBron James is not even remotely close to the great player that Michael Jordan was. The only reason LeBron James comes up in a conversation in a debate between who's top two between him and Michael Jordan is because the media has sold us an illusion, tricked us and manipulated us by constantly bringing LeBron James' name up in the GOAT debate with Michael Jordan. They made the names synonymous with one another when we all know that Kobe is a far better player than LeBron James. Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, Allen Iverson, David Robinson, David Thompson, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wes Unseld, Jerry West. If all these players had the same amount of talented teammates on their team as LeBron James, they'll be viewed as far greater players. So no matter how many stats LeBron James has, it still will never matter. If Michael Jordan had Luka Doncic on the Wizards when he played for the Wizards, Michael Jordan would win 5 championships with Luka Doncic. Michael Jordan could have played well over his 40s. If he had the RBA in his back pocket and was able to make trades for any all-star player, Michael Jordan would have endless rings. It wouldn't even be fair. LeBron James is a cone on defense. They say that maybe some things last forever after all, but they're wrong. Everything except LeBron James' hairline.